Hello dear friends, I'm Andrey Khovratov and today I have two gifts for you. On top of the 8 rules of a private investor, I want to give you a bonus. The first bonus is a rule, which you have to always follow. Always create a contingency fund, in case of emergencies that can happen in your investment life. Remember I told you how I had gone bankrupt in 2008. I realized that at the end of 2009, I was negative $1 million. Even if I had sold everything I owned, I would have still owed $1 million. I realized one important thing, that if I hadn't had the money to cover 4 years worth of my costs back then, I guess I would have had to work and I would have been desperate. We should always have a contingency fund. It's like an investment portfolio, which you can call a contingency fund. And when you put aside and invest money, allocate it to the contingency fund as well. Why do you need it? For example, a crisis can happen like it did in 2008, or many people were in a crisis in 2020. And I saw videos where young people in Europe had to receive free food rations because they didn't have money even to feed themselves. And by creating a contingency fund, we can prolong the state when we don't have to work and yet have money to live a comfortable life. Let me give you the example of my state of bankruptcy. Why bankruptcy? My liabilities were worth $8,000 to $10,000, whereas my earnings were $50,000 to $100,000. You can do the math. It was 10–20% of my income. In other words, it was a good ratio to move forward. And then the crisis hit. A very unpleasant economic situation nationally and globally. My income disappeared, and liabilities, for some reason, increased. They increased almost to $12,000 a month, because banks started charging interest on interest. But I had my contingency fund. I sold some of my real estate. I had some assets in the stock market and forex, and they yielded me some return. I sold part of my assets, and I had enough money to go by. But I realized one important thing, something that business and financial coaches recommended. If you have enough money to live for 2 years, you are financially independent. Why do I say that financial independence is 10 years? Because 2 years might not be enough by far. I was 40 years old back then, and I needed almost 3 years to get out of that state. It took me 1 year to understand where I was. In the second year, I started learning new techniques, and only in the third year, I started making good money. And already in 3 years, I was earning the same money that I used to earn before the bankruptcy. 3 years. If I hadn't had a contingency fund, it would have been very bad for me. That's why always create a reserve fund for unpleasant contingencies. But if you follow all the 8 rules of a private investor, I'm sure you won't have to resort to your contingency fund. This is the first bonus that I wanted to give you. Always create a contingency fund. The second bonus is a video report and the leaflet Money for Your Life and Dream. Remember, in the second rule of a private investor, there's the 5th commandment, which says, always learn to earn more. The leaflet Money for Your Life and Dream will allow you to start making decent money from $1,000 to $10,000 a month in already 12, maximum 24 months. If you make use of this leaflet and video report, I'm sure you will be able to create one more source of income, which can later become your main source of income. And thanks to this income and this opportunity, you will become a millionaire much sooner. So, dear friends, make good use of these gifts to make your life better and your money grow and multiply. I'm Andrey Khovratov. Until we meet again.